Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're doing a longer conversation, so take your time, relax a little, and listen for ideas you can actually use. Maybe you're studying English, maybe you're commuting, or maybe you just want a calm voice in the background.
Yeah, exactly. And if you've ever felt like life is supposed to be easier now, but somehow feels heavier, this episode is for you. We're going to slow it down, look at the reasons, and say things in simple English as we go.
That feeling is so common, isn't it? We have faster phones, faster food delivery, faster messaging, and yet people still say, "I'm tired." It almost sounds like a joke, but it isn't really funny when you feel it every day.
No, and I think the strange part is that convenience can hide the real cost. A task might take less physical effort, but it still takes attention, decisions, and energy. So the body works less, but the mind works more.
Exactly. That is why a simple day can still leave you exhausted. You answer messages, switch between apps, remember appointments, and keep checking things. Nothing looks hard from the outside, but inside, your brain is busy all day.
And once your mind is busy, even small tasks start to feel bigger than they are. A reply message becomes a burden. A small email becomes a mountain. Then you look at the clock and wonder why the day disappeared so quickly.
That is such a good way to say it. The day disappears quietly. You don't notice one huge moment of lost time. Instead, it is 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, a little distraction, a little scrolling, and suddenly it is evening.
Right, and that's why people often feel confused. They think, I didn't do anything today, but actually they did many tiny things. The problem is that tiny things often leave tiny memories, so the day feels empty even when it was full.
So maybe the real issue is not laziness. Maybe it is fragmentation. Your attention gets cut into pieces, and those pieces never fully come back together. That makes it hard to feel grounded, even if you are technically staying busy.
Yeah, fragmentation is a great word. It's like your brain has too many tabs open. One tab is work, one tab is family, one tab is chores, one tab is messages, and another tab is worry. No wonder everything feels heavy.
And the funny thing is that even when you finally sit down, your mind doesn't sit down with you. Your body might be resting, but your thoughts keep moving. That is why rest can feel fake if your head is still racing.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people confuse physical stillness with real rest. But rest is not just lying on a couch while your mind runs around in circles. Real rest gives your brain a chance to stop carrying everything at once.
Maybe that is why quiet moments feel strange to some people. If you are always connected, always responding, always consuming something, then silence can feel uncomfortable at first. But that discomfort is often a sign that you need the silence.
That's very true. Silence can expose how tired we actually are. When the noise stops, you notice the pressure that was hiding underneath it. It can be uncomfortable, yes, but it can also be the first honest moment of the day.
And honest is important because if you don't notice how you feel, you can't change anything. You keep pushing, keep answering, keep going, and then you wonder why even easy things feel hard. Awareness is the first step.
Awareness, yes, I like that. It's simple, but it changes everything. If you can notice what steals your attention, what drains your energy, and what makes you feel lighter, then you can begin to make better choices.
For example, maybe you check your phone first thing in the morning. That seems harmless, right? But then your mind is immediately full of other people's messages, other people's news, and other people's urgency before your own day even starts.
Exactly. And once you let other people set the first tone of the day, it becomes harder to hear your own thoughts. Your morning is no longer yours. It belongs to notifications, alarms, and little fires that never really stop.
That is why I think mornings deserve more respect. A calm morning can change the whole feeling of the day. Even 10 minutes without screens, without noise, without pressure can make your mind feel less crowded.
And if 10 minutes sounds too small, that's actually the point. Small is realistic. People hear advice and think it must be dramatic to matter, but tiny changes are often the only changes people can sustain. That matters a lot.
Yes, sustainable is the key word. A perfect plan that lasts 3 days is not very helpful, but a simple habit that you can repeat again and again slowly becomes part of your life. That is how real change happens.
So let's say someone wants to feel less overwhelmed. They don't need to rebuild their whole life in one afternoon. They could start by noticing what times of day they feel tired, what tasks create stress, and what habits make them feel worse.
That sounds almost too simple, but simple does not mean weak. Simple is powerful because you can actually do it. You can look at your day and say, this part drains me, this part helps me, and this part is just noise.
And once you see the noise, you can start reducing it. Maybe you don't need every notification. Maybe you don't need to answer every message instantly. Maybe you don't need to make every moment efficient. That pressure is exhausting.
It really is. The pressure to be available all the time is one of the biggest modern burdens. People think being available makes them good, but sometimes it just makes them scattered. Your attention is precious, so protect it.
Protecting attention is such a modern survival skill. In the past, people had to protect food, shelter, and time. Now we also have to protect focus. If focus is gone, then even a free hour can disappear without giving anything back.
That's why scrolling is so tricky. It often feels like rest because it is easy and passive. But later, you realize it left you more tired than before. The mind was not restored. It was just occupied in a different way.
Exactly. Occupied is not the same as refreshed. That's a big difference. You can keep your mind occupied with tiny pieces of information and still finish the day feeling mentally full in the worst possible way.
Maybe that is one reason people wake up already tired. The previous night never really ended. If you go to bed with your brain still full of noise, unfinished conversations, and screen light, then the next morning inherits that mess.
I agree. The night before matters a lot more than people admit. A late night doesn't only steal sleep. It also steals recovery, patience, and clarity. You wake up not just later, but heavier, like the day begins with a delay.
And then we blame the morning, which is kind of unfair. The morning is just showing us what happened before. If the evening was loud, the morning will probably be loud too, unless you change the pattern.
That's a useful lesson, honestly. If someone wants a better day, they should look at the night before. Sleep a bit earlier, reduce the screen time, and let the brain close some tabs. That already changes a lot.
I like that image, closing tabs. It makes the mind feel like a computer that needs shutdown time. Not forever, of course, but just enough to stop all the little background programs from draining power when you're trying to rest.
Exactly. And the word energy is important here. People talk endlessly about time management, but time is not always the problem. Sometimes you technically have time, but your energy is so low that the time feels unusable.
Yes, you can have one free hour and still feel unable to use it well because your mind is foggy. That is why energy management matters just as much as time management. If you protect energy, your time becomes more valuable.
And energy comes from many things, not just sleep. It also comes from emotional boundaries, clear priorities, and less inner conflict. When you are constantly saying yes to things you do not want, energy leaks out very quickly.
That brings us to a hard topic, saying no. So many people struggle with it. They worry that no will sound rude, selfish, or cold. But sometimes no is simply honest, and honesty can be kind.
That's a very mature way to think about it. A good no can protect your future yes. If you say yes to everything, your yes becomes cheap, and your life starts to feel like it belongs to other people.
And when that happens, you can get busy without getting fulfilled. That is such a painful combination. Your calendar is full, but your heart feels empty. You are moving all day, but not necessarily moving toward anything important.
Maybe that's why people feel relieved when plans get canceled sometimes. It is not always because they dislike the person. Sometimes it is because their nervous system is begging for one small piece of space. That is real too.
Yes, and we should be careful not to shame that. Space is not laziness. Space can be recovery. Space can be honesty. Space can be the moment your mind finally says, "Thank you, I needed this."
So if someone wants to live a little lighter, maybe the answer is not more productivity hacks. Maybe it is less pressure, fewer unnecessary commitments, and more respect for human limits. Human beings are not machines.
That's an important reminder. We use machines to save effort, but then we often expect ourselves to work like machines anyway. No wonder people feel tired. Bodies need pauses, minds need pauses, and hearts need pauses too.
And pauses are not failures. They are part of the rhythm. Think about music. If there were no pauses, it would just be noise. The pauses help the notes matter. Life is a little like that as well.
I love that analogy. Without pauses, everything blurs together. With pauses, you can actually feel the shape of the day. You can remember a conversation, a meal, a walk, a quiet breath. Those moments become real.
That's why slowing down is not a luxury. It is a way of noticing your life while you are living it. If everything moves too fast, you may arrive at the end of the week without remembering the middle.
And remember, remembering matters. If your days are only tasks, they become hard to hold on to. But if you have a few genuine moments of attention, the day feels richer, even if nothing dramatic happened.
Right. A rich day is not always a busy day. Sometimes it's just a day where you were present. You noticed your tea. You heard someone's voice. You took a walk without rushing. That counts.
It definitely counts. And for English learners, this is a nice idea too. You do not need perfect English in one day. You just need regular contact, a little attention, and the patience to keep going.
That's true. Learning English is very similar to improving your life habits. Tiny steps matter. A few words today, a few phrases tomorrow, a little listening, a little speaking. Progress often looks small before it looks big.
So maybe our conversation itself is a model. We're not trying to rush. We're trying to explain things clearly, naturally, and slowly enough that your mind can follow. That is useful for learning and for living.
I like that. Clear and natural. And if we keep that in mind, we can talk about practical changes without turning life into a giant project. For example, One small change could be turning off one unnecessary notification.
Or setting one small change could be turning off one unnecessary notification. Or setting one specific time to check messages instead of checking all day. That alone can reduce a lot of mental noise. The goal is not perfection. The goal is to create breathing room.
Breathing room is such a good phrase. It sounds peaceful, and it really is. When your mind has breathing room, your thoughts don't have to fight so hard for space. Everything becomes a little more manageable.
And manageability changes your mood. A day does not need to be easy to feel good. It just needs to feel possible. That is a much kinder standard, and honestly, a much more human one.
Yeah, possible is enough. People forget that. We keep chasing ideal days, perfect routines, and flawless discipline. But the real victory is often just keeping yourself steady. Steady beats perfect almost every time.
Steady also helps with guilt. When you are steady, you stop punishing yourself for not being superhuman. You can rest without drama, work without panic, and choose without feeling like every choice must define your whole life.
That's a huge relief. The modern world makes everything feel urgent, but not everything is urgent. Some things can wait, some messages can wait, some tasks can wait, and some expectations should probably be questioned.
Yes, question the expectation first. Ask, who said I need to do this right now? Who benefits if I stay constantly busy? Is this actually necessary? Or am I just responding automatically because I'm used to pressure?
That kind of question is powerful. It gives you a pause, and the pause can prevent a lot of unnecessary stress. Even 1 second of reflection can change the whole direction of your day.
And reflection is a skill. It's not always dramatic or dramatic sounding. Sometimes it is just sitting quietly and admitting, I'm overwhelmed. Once you admit it, you can take care of it more honestly.
That honesty matters a lot. If you keep pretending you're fine, you delay the solution. But if you name the problem clearly, then you can choose one small action. Rest, cancel, delegate, or simplify.
Simplify is a beautiful word here. Not because life should become empty, but because unnecessary complexity creates stress. When things are simpler, your brain can breathe, and your attention can stay where it belongs.
Yeah, and simplification can be emotional too. You don't have to solve every problem today. You don't have to answer every message with the perfect sentence. Sometimes a calm, simple response is enough.
That is such a relief for many people. We often pressure ourselves to be brilliant, fast, and polished. But being human is more important than being impressive. That's a lesson worth repeating.
Being human means having limits. It means needing sleep. It means forgetting things sometimes. It means not being available every second. If we accept that, then a lot of shame starts to disappear.
And when shame disappears, energy comes back. Shame is heavy. It makes ordinary tasks feel harder. So being kind to yourself is not just emotional advice. It is practical advice too.
Very practical. If you are kinder to yourself, you are less likely to spiral over small mistakes. A missed task becomes a task, not a personal failure. That shift alone can save a lot of energy.
And energy saved is energy you can use for what matters, for real rest, for real learning, for real connection. That is what we want. Not a life that looks busy, but a life that feels meaningful.
Meaningful, yes, that word keeps coming back. Because a meaningful day can be quiet, it can be slow, it can be ordinary. It doesn't need fireworks to matter. Sometimes the ordinary day is the one that teaches you the most.
For example, a quiet breakfast, a short walk, one honest conversation, one completed task, one moment of stillness. Those are small pieces, but together they make life feel more present and less rushed.
And presence is really the opposite of that exhausted feeling we started with. When you are present, you are not chasing every distraction. You are here. You notice. You breathe. You experience the moment instead of just surviving it.
That is beautiful. And maybe that is the answer to the mystery we opened with. Life feels heavier when attention is scattered, energy is drained, and rest is ignored. It feels lighter when you protect those things.
Exactly. So the goal is not a magical, easier life. The goal is a more aware life. If you know where your time goes, where your energy goes, and where your attention goes, you can make better choices.
And better choices add up. You don't need a huge transformation overnight. You just need one small improvement, then another, then another. That is how a life changes without feeling forced.
Maybe tomorrow that means putting the phone away a little earlier. Maybe it means saying no to one extra thing. Maybe it means taking a slower lunch. Whatever it is, let it be realistic and kind.
Realistic and kind is a great standard. We should probably use that more often. It allows growth without punishment. It supports progress without turning every day into a test.
And if today has been hard, that's okay too. Hard days are part of life. The point is not to deny them. The point is to understand them and respond with a little more wisdom next time.
Yes, understanding is gentler than forcing. So if you're listening and you feel tired, maybe don't ask, "What is wrong with me?" Ask, "What is draining me? What do I need? What can I simplify?"
That's a much better conversation to have with yourself. It sounds kinder, and it also leads to action. Once you know the drain, you can start protecting the battery.
I like that. Protecting the battery. Because honestly, that's what many of us are doing all day. We are trying to stay connected, stay useful, stay responsive. But if the battery is always empty, nothing works well.
Exactly. And a dead battery cannot power a good life. So rest, boundaries, and attention are not extras. They are part of the system. They keep the whole thing running.
And that's a hopeful thought. We don't need to become perfect to feel better. We just need to care for the parts of life that quietly support us. Sleep, focus, limits, and small moments of calm.
Well said. And maybe that's the perfect place to end this long conversation. If you listened all the way through, thank you for staying with us. We hope the English was clear, natural, and easy to follow.
Yes, thank you for being here with us. Keep listening, keep learning, and keep making small changes in your own life. Your progress doesn't have to be loud to be real.
And remember, life becomes better not just when it becomes easier, but when you become more aware of it. That awareness can change everything, one day at a time.
See you next time. And until then, take care of your energy, your attention, and your rest. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone. Stay calm, stay curious, and we'll talk again soon.